All right. Hello and welcome. This is going to be our very first video series of what the world is doing with DAI. We're really excited to bring this call series. Both people who are here joining us, eager to ask some questions, and to anyone watching the recording later. I'm joined by the awesome crew from CurioInvest, and we're going to be going over some neat projects they're doing, as well as how DAI is factoring into their platform. So don't want to spoil too much of that in my intro here, but just as some housekeeping methods, we are going to ask you if you do have questions, like we want to encourage that. You can either raise your hand or type them in the sidebar, and I can speak them out if you don't want to. If you're not asking a question, though, and you're just participating, we will ask that you keep your video off just for recording purposes. And I think that pretty much does it. Don't be shy. I've got a few questions, but my questions are no better than yours. So if you do think of something, feel free to drop it in the chat or raise your hand, and I can bring you on to ask yourself. I guess the most natural place to start is to kick it over to the CurioInvest team and maybe have you guys give a brief introduction. Tell us who you are and what you do for the platform there.
Thank you very much, Payton, for the invitation. Thank you very much to the MakerDAO community. We're very pleased to introduce our project to your ecosystem. Personally, I believe we're all quite fans from the DAI ecosystem. We're also holders of DAI for quite some time. So to be here, it's also an honor. I'm Fernando, co-founder of CurioInvest, a platform that tokenizes real-world assets. You probably heard about tangible, real-world collectibles, such as a rare car or a fine art. Thanks to our regulatory framework and our platform, we can now tokenize these assets, turn them into tokens that investors can use them to diversify. Today with me, we have other team members and co-founders joining me. Want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Valerie. I'm also one of the co-founders of CurioInvest. I have a background in banking and collectibles as an alternative investment for high net worth individuals. And about 3.5 years ago, I met Fernando and Vladimir. And that's actually when the idea popped up and we started CurioInvest. So excited to be here. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Vladimir Kislinski. I'm a CTO and co-founder of CurioInvest. My background is I'm studying in German IT in Berlin and in Jena, in Thuringia, and I'm born in Leningrad. Now, last 3+ years, I'm working with Fernando in CurioInvest and Valerie and whole Curio family. So that's it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vladimir Sushkov. I'm a technical team leader of CurioInvest team.
Thanks so much for joining us, and really excited to have you here. So going to kind of start us at the high level and get a little more granular as we go on. For anyone who hasn't had the pleasure of kind of hearing about you interacting with your platform, do you have maybe micro elevator pitch for what you guys do and how you're able to do it?
Anyone who's not familiar with collectibles, don't worry, you will learn after this AMA a bit more about them. But if there's one thing that you're probably missing out, you should know is that you're missing out some nice returns. When you look at collectibles, you see they share some of the features that crypto also share in the sense that they are scarce. So basically, when you see let's say a fine art or a rare car, you're looking at a limited series of a very rare collectible car, say, that was driven at a specific race and driven by a specific driver and so on. And therefore, the price might have changed, from what it initially cost to several $1 million for a single car. There are even cars that cost $80 million. So what happened in the past is that the very few, of course, always collected some of these assets and pretty much enjoyed that, features that they share. So when you look at, at the top collectors, Tommy Hilfiger and a few other ones, you see they have, hundreds or 300 cars collections. And you see the value of those cars, have in a way, being featured on movies and so on. And people are just willing to pay whatever it costs. Why? Because they are scarce When people buy some of these cars back in the days, they might crash it, but those few last that remain until today might make it into auctions and so on. You probably heard Sotheby's and all these fancy places where the cars are being sold literally, and people are calling 3 more millions and so on, just because people are just collecting. So this is where Curio comes in and introduces to the crypto community a very unique asset class, collectibles. We start with cars, thanks to Valerie and her previous activities supporting high net worth individuals. We have built a very unique network here within Europe, which is where cars were in a way created back in the days by Daimler and so on. So there's some unique garages. We'll be sharing some pictures. It's quite exciting, where you see these cars are stored for, preservation purposes. You see experts handling these cars literally with gloves, making sure they're in pristine conditions, sometimes opening them for people to visit and so on, and therefore creating some sort of unique community that in a way values human heritage. And this is where, Curio's missions comes in. We want to enable everyone to jump into this wagon, starting from little via these tokens. And of course, we want to, support, this experience by doing some beautiful research, bringing some additional products, digital products, NFT products along the whole experience of collecting those assets. So that's kind of Curio in a nutshell. We, of course, have been developing several integrations with Chainlink, now with MakerDAO, and hopefully with many other players in the ecosystem. And the purpose of today, more specifically this AMA, is to introduce you to Curio, to introduce you how we're intending to use DAI within the whole ecosystem, but most importantly, what we envision in the near future in order to bring all these real-world assets towards the MakerDAO ecosystem, so that we can hopefully in the near future diversify the collaterals that DeFi leading projects use, so that we can hopefully build a more resilient, let's say, stable coin that, hopefully, improves financial inclusion across, those who benefit today from this stable coin. I feel that thanks to, this recent innovation, it's 10 years old crypto, but it's genuinely now taking place, financial inclusion and, this inequality that has been, grown over the last years, has the opportunity to decrease. So that's what's very exciting about what we're doing. And hopefully at the end of this discussion, you are just as excited as we are.
Definitely. Well, it's like I said, again, a pleasure to have you on. I did want to explore, I'm sure we'll get into like challenges and, a bunch of other things later in the call. But I did want to ask kind of like, I know a couple of the projects, but maybe you can highlight what can people do right now via CurioInvest in terms of taking advantage of these collectible assets and in a really novel way.
Our team member Vladimir, he has prepared a short video that walks you through the platform. One thing that sets us apart from several projects out there, especially within the crypto ICO phase, was that we generally, focus on the regulatory setup and on the technology development over the last, the initial, let's say, launch. And therefore today our product is not only live, but also fully functional and compliant. And when you look at CurioInvest historically, we became pretty much the first entity, the first player to tokenize a real world asset, Ferrari F12 TDF, within the regulatory framework of Switzerland and Liechtenstein, also known as the Crypto Valley here in Europe. So we're very proud of that. And why don't you start, Vladimir, with walking the audience through the video. So our team member is now sharing with you a quick demo about our platform. What you would see is that effectively two products. On the one hand, the asset tokenization model, and on the other hand, the automated market maker model. together, they bring, in a way, liquidity to tokenized assets and therefore enable the trading and tokenization of these assets to be, in a way, more liquid.
So, okay, then we start just the video.
Yes.
So you can now go into Capital DEX Exchange. This is our DEX, the Curio. You can farm there the CGT. It's our governance token, just to provide liquidity and so on. And you can use this online. That's how it looks like. So this is a transaction in Ethereum. The idea is the CGT, our governance token, is already deployed in Polkadot ecosystem on our Curio parachain, but we're preparing to launch it soon. And here you see the CGT is tradable with the pair Curio stablecoin. So you can just earn actually the CGT on the Capital DEX and swap it to Curio stablecoin. Curio stablecoin is, let's say, like DAI, but collateral by the security assets backed by real world assets inside, not by crypto. This is different between it. Let's say.
What you see right now is the asset tokenization model.
Yeah, you can then come to the CurioInvest.com, see this Ferrari, click, and go to Uniswap buying the Ferrari. This is actually the Ferrari token. And you can do it maybe with your pair if you want for a stable coin or another asset to this security asset. The city one is a Ferrari token, actually, and you can do it online today on Uniswap. But you need to be whitelisted, so you need to have the CUTS procedure, and also we have the wrapping Ferrari token. So for people who don't want to make the CUTS, they still can have, let's say, the version of Ferrari token. This is our application, our governance application, and here you can actually borrowing collateral our security asset and issuing the stable coin. So this is it. Actually, you can just buy stable coin or just buy CGT or just buy CT1, and then you can swap it to another class of assets. And everything is online today on Ethereum, and we're preparing now the Polkadot launch this summer, I think, and another blockchain solution like Near, Solana, and so on. But today, everything on Ethereum because we still think the Ethereum is the king. So everything online, you can just come to capitaldex.exchange or to CurioInvest.com and use our application, actually.
So you may be having several questions. How does it work? How does the Oracle fix the price of the card token and so on? We're very glad to use the following moments to answer some of these questions. And afterwards, I would love to jump into where the intersection with MakerDAO comes in, more specifically with DAI first, and in the future with bringing real world assets into the protocol.
Yeah, I think we need to talk something later or about how we want to do it with the MakerDAO. So this is the time or no? Or still no?
Probably ask a few questions just to clarify some of the platform stuff first. But yeah, we definitely want to get to that and potential for future partnerships towards the later half of the call. Before getting into, I guess, the more like DAI specific stuff, when you actually buy the CT1 token, what token rights does that give you as a holder? Like, what are you actually purchasing?
One of our initial innovations at Curio, and basically, in a way, it represents the future profit of the car when it's sold. So when we raised the assets from the public by selling the CT1, we use those funds to purchase the car, and therefore we become the owner. And then we provide security token to the initial investors, which represents the right to split the proceeds when we sell the car, basically. So within the token sale, we allocate a portion for purchasing the asset and also for storing, insuring, and basically maintaining the asset for a period of time, usually 5 years. So as an investor, for the first time in collectibles, you don't have to worry about anything. Meaning you don't have to find a parking, you don't have to find a mechanics to take care of it, you don't have to find an auction house to sell the car, nothing. And this is quite groundbreaking because this was all, required unique expertise. So definitely it was not the small, guy game. Now, thanks to just a simple token, you have an asset-backed token, basically, that gives you the right to split the profits, basically.
The small thing here, I think for somebody, it's need to be more clear and more simple. So this is actually security assets that represent the car. The CT1, it's actually represent the Ferrari. So this is a Ferrari token. And the next thing, this is just the first Curio security asset and upcoming security asset in this July, what we want to build on Polkadot Online ASAP, you can still drive this Ferrari because the class of these assets, it's for storaging and become a profit. And this summer, we launching on our platform drivable and rentable car. And it's be first, in the world for sure, crypto DAO car. This is called the DAO car. So this is not the storaging car. This is sport car like Mercedes-AMG GTS. This is our first DAO car, like Ferrari was our first security asset on our platform. And anybody who have the Curio governance token can buy this car only with this governance token, and in the end he can rent and become, let's say, passive income from this renting.
So basically the exciting part about this CT1 token is that in the future there will be a token that represents a Ferrari, a Porsche, and many other ones. And you would basically be able to just buy a few tokens from each. And by holding, say, a small portion on each asset, you will be able to have or to build the portfolio of the 21st century. Well, how does that look like? Well, you have a fraction of, a Ferrari, you have maybe other assets, and so on. Now, we're also discussing not only with retail, basically with crypto enthusiasts, but also we bring in a bit of the traditional investors on board so the ecosystem grows. And they're very excited about learning that in the near future, there might be even buckets that have, 5 or 10 cars of Ferrari, and they will call it index Ferrari. So by having an index, you certainly have, entire ecosystem of analytics. You can follow this, and you're professionalizing something that was previously somehow a hobby, but now you have the opportunity to, follow the stats and so on. Now, Vladimir mentioned a very important aspect of the passion, which means membership, experiences, access to some collectible, some fast cars, put it this way, as kind of a member, maybe even visits to the car garage where you get to see the collectible rare car, as well as all kind of digital merchandise and so on coming up via NFTs and so on. So those are kind of different lines of businesses, the collectibles, the experiences, and the digital merchandise that in a way pursue to build or to close that gap from purely investing to actually driving it and enjoying it and, wearing that cap saying Curio and things like that. And this is quite unique because historically, either you were, a collector buying these cars and being very wealthy, or you could maybe take part of a fund. But even the fund would not allow you to pick exclusively in a single asset, which today, thanks to crypto, you can now do. But it will have very high minimums as well, maybe 500,000 as a minimum and things like that. So by listing this asset on Uniswap, which, by the way, the Ferrari is now listed, I mean, it's divisible. So you can just do the KYC and then just buy your fraction. And that's quite unique. And this is what brings us closer to where, DAI territory comes in. I think you saw already a DAI logo as Vladimir was doing a video. And I feel that liquidity, that, exchange tradability is exactly what we're all here, the reason why we're all here.
What's the next question?
Right.
Definitely.
So here a little bit sponsor or a break. We have actually in our tweet the list of 30 cars, 50 cars.
No.
You have several rare cars that you can vote for what's coming into our platform. So take a look at it and you might get some nice perks coming from our site, exclusively announced today at the MakerDAO meeting.
That is very exciting. Yeah, drop the link to that if you haven't. Anyone on the call,
Right.
You're going to get first dibs here. That's awesome. I saw a question in the chat here. Looks like we might need to lay a little bit of groundwork before we get to that. So how does CurioInvest handle the collateralization side of things?
Right. So this is, we've been working with regulators in order to define the meaning of tokenization. And basically, within the crypto valley, there's a new regulatory framework called the blockchain law, for those who are not familiar with that. And what it means is that there's now a clean framework to tokenize assets that protects both investors and founders, like CurioInvest founders. And the beauty about this is that, it all begins with an SPV, similar to several other projects that it set up an entity in this jurisdiction. And right after raising the funds needed for that specific asset, the SPV pretty much acquires the assets, right? So at that point, the SPV issues a token that is backed by that specific asset. And basically, if the company goes bankrupt, there is kind of a shield within the vehicle that protects the token investors on that particular asset from the bankruptcy. And that's quite unique because usually when you go bankrupt, you have some debts. And the debtor, the person who gave you money, who you own, they want you to sell everything you have in the balance sheet so that you pay their debts, basically. By having this shield, we segregate these assets, and therefore these assets are stored via a trustee independently. And this means if Curio goes bankrupt or so, the assets can remain perpetually independently handled by another entity. This was very important for us because, life happens, companies grow or close, and you want to protect investors. Now, this setup requires a company that, purchase this asset. In the near future, you will be looking at specifically tokenizing the asset. This might even decrease the tokenization cost per asset. And this will soon be available within this jurisdiction. However, at this stage, it's still, let's say, somehow research and development. And this is effectively coming soon, most likely as more countries begin, adopting the legality of the asset. So what you have today is that once Curio purchased the car, we already are future-proof in the sense that we create an NFT linked to that specific car. And we also provide to the investors the ERC20 tokens that represent the economic benefit, basically. However, when we will sell the car, say in 5 years, we will sell it already with the NFT, or we would transfer the NFT. So we're almost like permeating the current traditional system, but pretty much future-proofing everything so that it works that way. We recently announced on the Medium that we created this NFT. It's the first NFT, basically, that represents a Curio car. And we also have some NFTs launched in 2018 for some members, some users who sign up into our platform and conduct some promotional activities as a reward.
That's really great. So then, if I'm understanding correctly, in terms of like buying the CT1 token, that is like effectively taking your ownership in the car, in this case, the Ferrari. So how does the borrowing, like with the stablecoin work? Can you borrow against that position? Or, I don't know if you wanted to go into that a little bit.
Yeah, basically, the CurioInvest integration with the CurioDAO, with the stablecoin, basically allows the collector to use his car token and get a temporal loan, right? So today is, in the CurioDAO, in the Curio stablecoin. In the near future, it might be, via DAI, right? Via MakerDAO. And the idea here is that we slowly bring real world assets into the blockchain, but most specifically collectibles that that in a way provide some collateral, some high quality collateral. So when you look at the price of these collectibles, it doesn't change so often. As a matter of fact, it's relatively a store of value. And basically, we are of the opinion that by having a multi-asset portfolio that includes these collectibles as collateral, we would ultimately improve that mix, basically.
The unique part of this stablecoin is it's algorithmic like DAI, and it's backed by like USDT. So we have both best things from the stablecoin system in our stablecoin.
And I think there's one collaboration that I just mentioned earlier, the Chainlink collaboration, that is worth highlighting. It was pretty much several weeks, hard, intensive work. Basically, what it does, several months, in fact, what it does is that it captures the prices from different sources, in this case, experts, in this case, APIs from different companies that track that price, and aggregates all these prices into a single feed that the stablecoin then uses in order to rebalance the position that is locked. So say for some reason the car, decreases in value or increases because, it got featured in an auction, then the stablecoin model will tell you, hey, you can take a higher loan because your car just appreciated, meaning your collateral, basically.
That's very neat. So I think that probably takes us to Monkey Irish's question from the chat in terms of asking, like, all right, so let's say the price does go down. Like, how do you liquidate a Ferrari?
Right. So, the exciting part about this tokenization is that before we actually liquidate the Ferrari, we would liquidate the tokens that represent the Ferrari, right? So within the vault, basically you store the CT1 car tokens. And of course, there's a oracle that tells you, hey, this pricing is above at a premium versus the current market price or at a discount, right? So provided that, there's a drop, and you need to, secure your position in order to avoid being liquidated, and you don't, then the mechanism would effectively sell the tokens to the next one in line. There's of course a mechanism, a procedure, and there's a sort of an action mechanism that pursues to get the highest bid, basically. But the idea is really that that doesn't happen. And the idea is that, it remains somewhat safe, and there's some sort of, I guess compared to the, MakerDAO ecosystem, you have massive volatility. In the car tokens, in the car space of collectibles, it's a bit less, put it this way.
Certainly, I definitely know in terms of cars, and especially classic collectors ones like you guys are targeting, it's really impressive in terms of the returns. Not financial advice as always, but
not financial advice also here. I think one of the beauties about this project, and it really caught my attention after we tokenized the first car was the capability it has to bring both Curio and MakerDAO somewhat a bit more mainstream. The reason for that is that, I mean, we're a small startup in the sense that, we bootstrap the project, but we have, already got some momentum. However, we were never so keen of pushing for marketing sponsorship. The first car got featured globally. I mean, NASDAQ, Bloomberg, Forbes, everything organically. And this is where I understood, hey, if I tokenize a house in Lithuania, and I mean, I like Lithuania, I have been a couple of times, but it's just a house in the corner in the city. It's cool, but nobody really cares that much. But if you come out with a one-of-a-kind collectible that even Schumacher drove and all these fans, suddenly everyone, steers their head and reads up, because everyone knows cars, everyone knows it has 4 wheels or maybe 6, and everyone somehow has an opinion. Either you hate it, you love it, but you know it, period. So the capability of using this product as a storytelling is just fantastic.
Definitely. And I think that kind of takes us more naturally into like the future and potentially how we could partner with MakerDAO. And I guess my first question is, what are you looking for on your side? Like, what would you like to see happen in an ideal world?
Right. So as I introduced MakerDAO integration to the team, I was sharing that, it would be great, that our customers could also, invest first in this asset class via a stablecoin. That's the most natural way, via DAI, as well as eventually get paid not only, in Ethereum, but actually in DAI. Why not, when the assets, exit. And I think as I contact, of course, MakerDAO, that was the initial kind of like step of the lowest hanging fruit. When you look at the second step of the collaboration or integration, I envision a way in which collectors, or pretty much anyone who holds an asset, I mean, initially collectors, but anyone who holds pretty much a car in the future that is somehow curated and so on, could effectively get a loan or get instant liquidity and therefore use it for, staking or earning passive income across whatever venue they find online, and ultimately increasing the security of, all these platforms, right? Proof of stake and so on. So clearly today, unfortunately, the Corona hit, the pandemic hit a lot of folks, both, normal folks who have some assets, but also, car garages. And many of these garages are closed. They have no way to actually work or sell their assets. But, now certainly they have a way to tokenize their cars, to, get maybe stable coins based on those tokens, and to stake those tokens into freaking, liquidity mining pools or so. What an amazing world. They're certainly getting some, liquidity while protecting the crypto ecosystems and so on. And I think that's just an amazing timing, because guess what? If we call a few collectors or garages and we tell them, hey, are you seeking some liquidity? Would you be willing to tokenize your assets? They would likely be on board, So it helps a lot on that side. And hopefully, we can scale the project much faster to many hundreds of assets, right?
Yeah, I think that's, kind of touching on a lot of what DeFi has to offer, just in terms of, really putting assets to work. And if you can bridge the real world assets into the DeFi by collateralizing it, tokenizing it, like you're speaking of, it's just a win-win for everyone.
Right. It's actually amazing how things started to kind of falling into place. And we were like, hey, he might get a loan, or he might invest into staking. Why not? So,
I want to join. I want to join here some stuff because Fernando, it's really like pushing for all team, and we have, the different vision in the team, and we always searching the opportunity, what we can do, and how it's actually working better, and we improving the concepts and so on. And I think the super important today to understand from where we come and where we're going and the place where we are today. And it's about the vision, of course, but it's about improving the concept on the market now. So I really like many here who listen this podcast, I think, using a crypto a long time. So my first BTC was 2013 in Berlin in room 77. If somebody be here in 2013, it's a first place in Berlin where you can actually buy the Bitcoin by ATM, because the founder of this room 77 buy this crypto automat. It was first in the Berlin. So, and then we see Ethereum, and then we see, of course, the DAI and MakerDAO. Of course, we load because the DAI actually give the DAI actually give the luft, the energy to Ethereum, because Ethereum without stablecoin not so interesting, I think, for the investors from the normal world. But what we're searching, why we're doing this, I think the people who is in crypto a long time, like me or another, they really want to put crypto everywhere. Please, Fernando, can you turn off your mic? I hear myself. If you can. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So why we try to do it to everywhere be everything on the crypto. And we need to tokenize actually everything what we can tokenize, because it's just easy to share with another people, or using the super good things like Ferrari, sport cars, castles to renting, I don't know, driving, or have some art or something else. So we starting from collectible cars and bring these collectible cars to everybody accessible. And this is really unique case, but we're looking forward and we want to make the cross-chain everything, of course. We're starting from Binance Chain. Now we're putting everything, of course, on the Polkadot ecosystem. And we bring another cool DeFi stuff. And I think the MakerDAO really can help us with the liquidity, and we can help the DAI to be more stable from our perspective. And one of the things what we really announced super fast from our perspective to do this tokenization real world assets super fast. So you can come to our platform, take your car, issue the NFT, put all documents on our platform at CurioInvest.com, uploading your documents for your car. And many people, I think, in the world today have the cars which they don't using. Of course, we need the insurance for this car. This car needs to be legally yours, and you needs to be the owner. And it's a couple legal things what you need to have to tokenize this car. But you can, sitting at your home, uploading your documents, send it to us. We're checking with our experts what car you have, and give you a loan in our stable coin for your car. And you become a loan if you agree with this price, what we share with you like a company, our offer, and have your car. So you can drive your car and have a cash loan for your car. I think this is the most exciting real world asset tokenization case, what you can find on the market today. That's actually it from my side now. Yeah, thank you.
That was really exciting. So thank you for sharing. I'm curious as well in terms of, like, we did mention earlier the concept of like a DAO car that, people could rent these really nice vehicles for a drive, assuming all the paperwork and everything is in order. Are there any plans to kind of tokenize that cash flow or potentially use that as a collateral, in addition to just looking at using the cars themselves as collateral?
When you see Curio, what you, we begin with cars, with collectible rare cars. It's a small niche of all the world's assets, but it's a very unique Trojan horse because that passion and so on. As we, got that regulatory approval and whole setup, we can effectively expand pretty much into other asset classes. So we will begin, of course, with collectible cars and then DAO cars, but it doesn't mean we won't, expand it towards other real world assets, other maybe cash flows that come from these assets, basically. So it's all about, the expertise that comes into place. So basically what we intend to do in the near future is test, calibrate those, those setups where there is no cash flow and where there is, and of course, enable the stakeholders to benefit from that in a compliant manner, and afterwards pretty much to extend it to other assets. And I think this is what's most exciting and why Curio is not only, flipping, an asset into a token, but I mean, Vladimir also mentioned how he's exploring this interoperability across blockchains such as Polkadot, and therefore bringing additional features to the whole ecosystem that in a way add a bit more depth tech than would otherwise be just, a simple token issuer. Yeah.
Okay. Then I need to tell. We want to tokenize the castle. I just need to. The first real estate, we want to have the castle and make the crowd sale on our platform and give everybody who invests in this, I think the many people know about the $1 castle in the Europe. It's really many real estate property there like this. So you actually can rent it for 100 years and become the profit from this. So we want to tokenize some castle with 50 rooms, I think, and everybody can buy these shares from this room. But of course, we need in the beginning to make the renovation of this asset. And this is one of the crazy idea what we have in mind for our first real estate. And anyway, the idea is to don't use the cash, to don't stop using the dollar, stop using, in the fiat, and going 100% in, let's say, crypto. So what does it mean? I don't have today opportunity to rent the car in Avis or Europa Car or in another car rental with the crypto. The first what we bring, it's you can rent now the car with our governance token worldwide. I think we need to think about logistics to deliver the car to our potential customer who buy more price for better price. The car renting for 1 week, 1 month, he can bet the better price. He can become delivering his car, let's say in Berlin or in Milan or in somewhere else. So, and if you want to have the living somewhere, we need to put this in our system. You can rent it with crypto. Maybe it can be with DAI, maybe it can be with CGT. I actually don't care. I want to have more competitor in real world asset tokenization, but I really don't see it. The Curio have the whole system from the start, searching the best asset to tokenize this asset and deliver this asset to the market on our DEX. So we actually have the full circle to tokenize everything in this world. And I really believe we need to have some competitor in this area, but all competitor, what I see, they have separating system. They have some partner in gold or something. They have some partner in DEX or CEX, and they have, some part of this cake. But nobody like Curio today have the whole cake to tokenize everything in the one framework. So, I really think here people really love crypto like I love with my team. And I think everybody need to kill fiat. So let's be in crypto total. That's my mission, I think. Okay.
Definitely a lot of alignment there in terms of, we're trying to bring DAI, which I often view as like a better dollar to as many people as possible. And neat projects like this are a great inroads to that. Did want to draw attention that we are nearing the top of the hour here. So if anyone in the audience does have questions they wanted to get it answered, do make sure to drop those so I can try and work them in before we run out of time here. One thread I kind of wanted to pull on, just because as makers working on our real world assets expansion, obviously we're running into a lot of the same challenges I'm sure you are. And one thing I'm particularly interested by is like, how do you select items for collateral? Like, how do you choose things that would make good potential collateral or tokenization assets? Obviously, kind of starting from that base of cars is a nice spot, but what makes a standard collectible compared to like a Ferrari? Like the Ferrari was a huge success. So how do you replicate that success? What type of vehicles are you looking for, I guess, as you naturally expand?
Yeah, so when you look at the selection, I would say this is a very delicate topic that requires due diligence. There's several steps, but on a high level, we target to select a high quality asset that is ideally under market value and basically in good shape and state, basically that has some provenance, some historic, that you can track it and know who held it in the past, where it was, which race it took place, right? Of course, none of this is simple. It's not trivial. So we have some in-house and kind of an industry expert board. We built together an advisory board from some of the leading private car garages here in the DACH region, Germany, Switzerland area, which of course support us, kind of guide us and so on. And if you go today into our Twitter account, you get to pick some of the assets or kind of signal what assets you want to see in the future in the platform. So as you can tell, we combine quite a data-driven approach, kind of a sentiment, expert-driven approach, and the community feedback in order to feed in a way within our proprietary algorithm the right asset at the right timing that has the most likelihood, to be likable, that people are actually very excited to see, and that it has some potential at least to remain, somewhat stable price, right? Of course, we take some commissions, and we initially align these commissions in order to make it as customer-centric as possible. So if the price of the car does not increase, we do not charge the token investor on the asset. So this gives us kind of some skin in the game that, we want a good asset that has the opportunity to increase so that we take a cut of that, premium. And I feel that, this can only be possible because, of course, we pay some of our expenses via our governance token and so on. And as the project, grows, well, there might be some bonus, right? And historically, there were always fixed fees everywhere for management and so on. We want to step out to kind of rethink the model and make it even somehow more inclusive for everyone. So definitely, of course, we have more information if you are interested in learning how it actually works. I feel this is an area that is ripe for analytics. We might get, in the future, PhD, support to build econometric models, to, expand these models, because it's just so, amazing the amount of data there is out there. And basically an area to develop further.
It's really exciting. Like, I really like the prospects, and, as like a car lover myself who obviously can't afford to be going around and buying Bugattis, the idea that someday soon I could invest in one is really neat. We obviously have your Twitter through here, and we'll plug that on our video description. Are there like websites, other social media platforms that people can find you on, or they should find you on?
Yeah, so pretty much, within our website, you have some social media links, and the best approach is definitely to go into our Telegram account. There you see a very, engaged community about 20,000 members chatting, and and specific channels asking about when moon and things like that. But most importantly, some car enthusiasts who are actually asking very actively, for the next assets. And one cool thing I would like to share, one unique experience, is that we were looking about the next classic and so on. Whereas then we saw the community feedback, and they were like pushing for, a Tesla, a Roadster. And we were thinking, oh, interesting. What would that mean? How does that work? And then this is where, these community-driven projects, these DAOs, in a way makes that, also crowd intelligence, or, coming from different sources. So very exciting about this whole ecosystem.
Yeah, I saw on your link there that you could vote for the Roadster, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, because much like you, I was thinking maybe further along the line, or like more expensive collateral types. But historically, the Tesla Roadster could end up being a very important car, right? Depending on the success or the development of electric vehicles. So yeah,
I think it would be cool if Elon tweets, if we actually happen to do it or so, and Elon tweets, I think that would be good enough.
All the marketing taken care of right there, right? Well, just thank you so much for coming by in this really engaging talk, really fun to learn more about you. We'll definitely be sharing this with our growth team, with our real world assets team. We'll be in touch. We do have a question here from the audience who's wondering if they're supposed to vote for one or two cars on the vote form. So I might get that answered here.
Right. So my understanding was that they're supposed to vote for two cars, right? So they get some compensation and so on, but they get to vote for a car. One single car.
Yeah, I am one.
Okay, right. So one car you should vote that you want to see in the platform. So, thank you so much, everyone, for, listening to this. If you, I see, you can vote 2 times then. All right, now it's clarified. So, yes, you can vote 2 times. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning into this. Ama, it was a pleasure introducing to you our project, as well as connecting now somewhat or more officially. Our next steps will be to fill out this onboarding real asset form and to get more familiarized with this MIPI or MIP. There's some sort of form that we need to submit in order for an asset to be included as a collateral. So you would be likely hearing back from us soon. Hopefully we get some of your to vote for us, to support us. We want to see the stable coin as a collateral. We want to see more assets as a collateral. But most importantly, we want to see a more resilient, stable coin that decreases, inequality and increases financial inclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Payton, for having us.
Yeah, I realized I probably did a poor job of introducing myself at the beginning. My name is Payton. I'm Pros 11 on the forum and Rocket Chat, working in governance. So if you do have any questions, filling that stuff out, feel free to ping me.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
So happy to be connected. Thank you so much. Thank you to your community as well. Take care,
everyone. Thank you guys. And thanks everyone for stopping by. Have a good one.